Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we continue with more of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. We are now in day 5. Now, certain wrestlers are now being eliminated during the tournament, even though they're still going to be continuing on, but they did not receive the necessary points, and certain things have happened as well. Then we move on, of course, with New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, we already announced the top 3 competitors from both blocks at A and B. However, things have changed. Instead of a point system, the last 3 spots they will phase it in a single elimination match. So basically, we have 2 of those taking place as well. And as you know, TNA, we are now continuing with more of the qualifiers of the Ultimate X match that's taking place at Resurgence. And of course, Mike Santana is looking for vengeance against the Moose and the system for taking him out during, of course, the Road to Slammiversary. And we got plenty other things as well that took place. And of course, in Ring of Honor, we have a Proving Ground match and championship matches as well. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events are happening, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course, some developments. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world of pro wrestling. It's not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do have real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. And of course, we have the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So, if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. It's time to rock and roll. So let's begin, of course, with Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. Okay, we are now in day 4 of Stardom's Grand 5-star Grand Prix. And of course, a lot of things have happened. Now, normally I don't do pre-shows on certain times, but I decided to put this one because there's a lot of interesting things that could happen. We have a 3-way tag match. First team, we have the rookies of Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura, taking on God's Eyes, Lady C, and Hina versus Momo Koko and Azuki. Now, of course, many people would assume a lot of things, but however, in this match, I would say this will build up a great momentum for Hina. As you know, Hina is preparing herself to face her twin sister Rina for the future belt. But however, of course, X Factor, you would think. You look at Kurara and Sakura, they both have least experience in the ring. However, that thing did not go exactly according to plan because it was Hina who picked up the win by pinning Momo Kogo. That leaves, of course, the rookie Angels in the clear, but I'm sure they are going to work together, and I'm sure they are going to make another play for the new Blood Tag Team belts. Now, let's jump into the very first match starting the tournament. Our first match we have is Azumi versus Tam Nakano. Now, those who remember, these two did face each other in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. However, Tam lost that match. She thought that maybe she could get her hands on this one. But however, Tam was able to counter the Azumi Sushi as possible. But however, that did not do any well for her until it was finally done. Tam was officially eliminated, giving Azumi the total of 6 points. But however, it was foretold Tam has been knocked out of the tournament. Well, she will continue until, even though she cannot proceed into the finals. If she would have won this match, she would have still stayed alive. But however, Natsuko Tora came out to gloat, telling her that she did not do exactly what she did. So she decided to give, of course, Tam Nakano a shot of the red belt. But Tam warned her that she will regret for what she did to her, attacking her, trying to bust her knee, cut her hair. Now, many people have been talking about this whole thing about Tam, but I was considering maybe putting that as a discussion video at another time. But we will see what happens until then. But however, it was later announced Tam Nakano will face Natsuko Tora at the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm sure there are people who are not too keen on the idea, but we will put that on the discussion video soon enough. Now let's jump in, of course, with the next block. This one is the Blue Star B. We have Tekla versus Rana Yagami. Now, of course, Tekla is no surprise as she is a very violent and very tempered individual that would stop at nothing to destroy her opponents. And that's exactly what she did to Rana Yagami, and she picked up, of course, her first 2 points by defeating her, and of course Rana still has 2 points. So basically, they're still alive in the tournament. Now let's jump into the Blue Star A block. We have Miyu Amasaki versus Koguma. Now we know that Amasaki started out great in day 1, but however, when it comes to Koguma, you guys know that Koguma, on the other hand, has some things up her sleeve, because she is known as the high-speed genius, and that's exactly. She defeated Amasaki with the Kuma roll in 45 seconds. So basically, it was a surprise thing coming from her, but nonetheless, it was a victory. Next up, we have Tomoka Inaba in the Red Star B block, and of course, Saya Ida. Both wrestlers are strong. We know Saya Ida is a very strong individual. As for Tomoka, the one thing is dangerous is her high-power kicks. That's exactly what she did to use to build up momentum when she defeated Ida with the one shot, one kick, and just like that, she gained her next 2 points, leaving with 6, leaving Ida with 2. Now we jump into a non-tournament match. We have members of EXV, Waka and Xena. They team up with Neo Genesis Mei Sita to take on the members of Hate, consisting of Saya Kamitani, Rina, and of course our current Red Belt champion, Natsuko Tora. But of course, you know that that Hate would definitely try to play a little dirty tactics. Unfortunately, Waka was the one who ended up being on the wrong side of those tactics, and it was Kamitani with the Star Crusher and defeating her and just giving Hate as the winning team. Now we back to the tournaments. Now we got the Red Star A block. We have Ruka versus Natsupoi. Now when it comes to Ruka, you all know she is a member of Hate. There will be some dirty tactics, distractions, and all that. Even the seconds did everything in their power to ensure the Ruka wins. However, Natsupoi's seconds tried to intervene as possible, but it was of course an arm bar by Natsupoi that put away Ruka and giving her next 2 points. So basically, she is still in the game with the total of 4. As for Ruka, she only has 1 from that one draw she had with Manami. So we'll see how that plays out. Our next match, this is for the Blue Stars B block. We have Hanan versus Saki Kashima. Well, I can tell you that this match ended in 20 seconds thanks to Kashima with the Kishikase, giving her next 2 points. And as for Hana, she still remained in 2. So basically, that is the most shortest record she's ever done, I think. I'm not sure. But yes. So, as you know, she likes to do things quicker and still promotes her pachinko. So yes. Next up, we have the Red Star A block, Manami versus Yuna Mizumori. I thought this was a pretty good match, very much with the powerhouse type style. However, you would think that Yuna would have gotten picked up a win already, but she hasn't. But apparently, Manami was the one who picked up the win with the diving body splash, giving her the win. However, they hadn't said anything if Yuna Mizumori hasn't been eliminated, even though she hasn't won a single. She hasn't won a single match. I think this is her third or second. I'm not sure. Yeah, second match so far. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. Next up, we got the Blue Star A block, Anna Jay versus Shooty. This is going to be a good one. Now remember, Anna Jay had a good surprising moment when she defeated, of course, Sayuri Noi, but this time she's facing against a competitor who is good with striking and submission. You would think that that's going to play out in a factor in this match. Well, it did. Shooty actually put Anna Jay away with a submission, allowing for her to pick up her next 2 points with a total of 4 points, while Anna Jay remains at 2. So they're both still in the game, but we'll see how far more they progress. Now, let's jump in with the Red Star block, A block, Konami versus Maika. Now, of course, as always, when it comes to Konami, much like Raka, we have dirty tactics being played. Of course, there was going to be some distractions. Even Konami was going to use the spray, but Maika was able to pick up the win when she countered an armbar by Konami, giving her next 2 points in the lead of 6. However, Konami did not take this kindly, so she chased, of course, Maika to make her pay for that loss, and Maika ran for her life. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hate decided to make sure she does not win. That is something that's obvious. Now, our next match, we have the Blue Star B block, Risa Sera versus Suzuki. Interesting matchup. Now, those who know this, these two ladies do have history. They both knew each other back in their Ice Ribbon days, and they were members of Prominence, a freelance unit that even did their own self-produced shows. Zuzu, as you know, left Prominence last year to be the face of pro wrestling, which Risa Sera was okay, but however, let's just say that there is still some unresolved issues toward them. So Risa Sera did attack Zuzu last year, and then of course defeated them. However, this is a different story. Now, those who know this, that Risa Sera was like a mom to Zuzu, but however, the real question is, can the child defeat the parent? Well, obviously that wasn't the case, because Risa Sera finally gets her first 2 point when she pinned Zuzu, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have the Blue Star A block, Starlight Kid and Sarunui. Now, remember, these two have met each other before in the past. However, last year, was it last year or this year? I don't know. We know that Starlight Kid made a play for the white belt when Sarunui was still champion, but however, that match didn't go exactly her way. But this is a different scenario. But unfortunately, this match didn't go exactly either way, because it landed in a time limit draw of 15 minutes. So basically, that's how it rolls up. And of course, it ended with Sarunui getting 2 points and 3 points. And I think Starlight Kid does the same thing. So basically, that's how it rolls. Now, our main event is the Red Star B block. We have Momo Watanabe and Mayu Utani. As you know, these two ladies have history from back in the day, when Momo turned on Mayu Utani to form Queen's Quest with Io Sky back in the day, but now they're on the opposite side again. Now, as always, we've seen, of course, when it comes to Momo, as you know, she's also a member of the Hate. We're going to see dirty tactics played out. That's exactly what happened, but it did not go according to plan to Momo. However, it was Mayu Utani that picked up the win with the Poison Rana. 1, 2, 3 is over. However, it did stated that Momo Watanabe no longer can continue on proceeding further into the tournament, much like Tam. So basically, our first match, we were told Tam is out. Last match, Momo's out. How embarrassing. But we'll get to more about Momo Watanabe at some point later on today, I think. So we'll see what happens. But as we speak, let's move on with New Japan. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, we are now getting closer and closer towards the end. Now, let me give you guys a quick recap of what's been happening. Now, as you all know, we have named the top 3 competitors in both blocks. In the A block, we have Shingo Takagi, Zack Sabre Jr. at the number 1 spot, Shingo at number 2, and I believe we have Takeshita at number 3, I believe. Yes. Hold on, let me look at it. Yeah, my notes. No, Shingo and Great-O-Khan, of course, are on 2 and 3. As for the B block, David Finlay at number 1, Yota Tsuji number 2, and of course, Konosuke Takeshita at number 3. Now, these are not point system at all in the G1. They decided to change it up a bit. So these are now elimination style. So whoever loses will advance. Now, Zack Sabre Jr. and David Finlay, who both are at the top of their spots of the block, they get a bye. However, the match features, of course, Shingo versus Great-O-Khan. Whoever wins that match will face Zack Sabre Jr. Whoever wins between Yota Tsuji and Takeshita will face David Finlay. But we'll get to that in a bit. Now, let's start from the very beginning. We have, of course, we have Katsuya Murashima teaming up with Bushi and Tomoaki Hamna, with Bishamon to take on, well, just 5 guys. But as you know, Yu Omura is out with an injury, so it's going to be Taka Michinoku, Taichi, Sonata, and of course our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Doiki. So basically, you would think that this match has no meaningless. However, I kind of feel like it did, because there are people who made doubt over Doiki ever since he won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title from Despy. Some people would think that he hasn't defended. Well, you got to remember, we were still doing the G1. There was no way he could defend the belt. However, it was him who picked up the win on Murashima, and won just like that with a suplex. However, during the post-match, a former champion who was now determined to get back on top, Taiji Shimori, issued the challenge. So basically, it's going to happen sooner or later. So we will see what happens until then. But Doiki, he is not going to turn away a challenge. He's willing to defend the belt against anybody who is willing to step up. Our next match, well, the most hated group ever, House of Torture, or I like to refer to as the House of Morons. There's nothing torturous about these guys. We have Kanemaru, Sho, Yujiro taking on, in a non-title match, the current Never Openweight champions, Boltin Oleg, Toru Yano, and of course, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the president of New Japan. Now, of course, the goal is now, because is this. House of Torture would do whatever it takes to prove they're the ones that run New Japan, because Evil said so. Anyway, but however, this match does play an important part for House of Torture. If they defeat Yano, Oleg, and of course Tanahashi, they get a shot of the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. But however, Boltin Oleg turned around a little bit with his dang strength. But however, it was of course a whiskey miscue that messed things up and allowed for, of course, Yano to pick up the win with a pinfall on a schoolboy on Yujiro. So luckily, they don't get a shot of the Never Openweight 6-man team title. But the House of Torture can cry all we care about. So, cry me a river. So anyway, our next match, we have a tag team match. Members of the War Dogs, Jake Lee and Gabe Kidd, teaming up, calling themselves the Mad Bastards. So basically, there it is, and they are putting themselves through the test. And the only way they're going to do that, they're going to face, of course, Francesco Kerr, who's a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, and Jeff Cobb, who also is a Tag Team Champion as well. This would put them through the test. But however, it was Lee with a chokeslam on Akira, giving them the win. So basically, now they are trying to make their way to the IWGP Tag Team title contingency. I'm sure that TMDK members, what's their names? Hayes and Nichols are probably paying attention, but they better. Now, our next match, we got the other members, of course, of United Empire, Cal Newman and Hanare, taking on Bushi and our current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Naito. Now, of course, anybody who would, in any bad salt, they would try to pin Naito since he is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. They would try to catch an opportunity. However, that wasn't the case at all. Bushi was the one who suffered the fate of a full Nelson by Hanare, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have Yado El Fantasmo and Shota Umino taking on the House of Losers. That's right, we have Dick Togo, Ren Narita, and Evil. As always, we've seen, of course, House of Torture tactics, as always. The other House of Losers showed up out of nowhere and trying to make sure this match goes into par. And of course, Evil applied everything is evil onto Yado, and then of course they decided to give a beatdown. But luckily, Hansa showed up. Our current never openweight 6-man tag champions made their way to get busy. But of course, Evil, he has issues towards Tanahashi because he's the president. He felt that Tanahashi has no right to interfere because he claims that he's the real president. That's what he is. Evil's a big crybaby with big ass diapers. That's what it is. So anyway, our next match. Now this one is a very interesting match. As you know, I mentioned this. We have two competitors that receive the bye. Team number one, we have TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr., and he brought an OG TMDK, and I did not know this because I don't follow like the last, let's say, 10 years or so. Hartley Jackson, I did not know he was a member of TMDK. Now, those who know this, TMDK was a faction based out of Australia, but now they're allowing wrestlers who are foreigners involved, like Zack, who's British, Bad Dude Tito, who's a Hispanic American, Kosta Fujita. But seeing Hartley Jackson, who's an OG, awesome. But they face against the War Dogs, Ghetto and David Finlay. Now, don't forget, these two guys are in the top spot. Both Zack and Finlay are in the top spot with the bye. So, as you know, Zack Sabre Jr. is the heavy favorite to win the G1. That has always been clear. But I can tell you that this match ended thanks to Hartley Jackson with the Death Valley Driver onto Ghetto. And just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, this is part of the A block of the G1 quarterfinals. Whoever walks out will face against Zack Sabre Jr. We have the Great Khan versus Shingo. Oh my effing god. This match was incredible. Because you know the kind of power Shingo can do. Great Khan is determined to make it tough. This is the farthest he has ever gone to in the G1 since he first returned from excursion from the UK and forming United Empire. But, however, Shingo got away with it by applying a Last of the Dragon. He moves on. He faces against Zack Sabre Jr. That match will take place on the 17th of August. Now for the B block, we have Yota Tsuji versus Konosuke Takeshita. I thought this match was awesome too. I mean, these guys pull everything as possible. But however, Yota Tsuji, he pulled it off by applying the Gene Blaster, allowing for himself to pick up the win. So, but, of course, he always feels that guys like him, like Konosuke Takeshita, they shouldn't be in New Japan since he was started up in the system. Of course, Konosuke Takeshita is from DDT, which is no secret if you are pro wrestling fans in general. But he did stated that he will get the IWGP title, and Takeshita should get another title to become champion. I mean, he has been on verges on that before in the past, but we will see. However, I did state it, we are going to have another G1 event on the 17th of August. So, stand by for that, and I believe we are now officially done for New Japan. Let's move on with TNA. TNA. Now, as you know, we continue with more qualifiers for the Ultimate X that will happen in Resurgence. Our first match, we have Chris Bay versus, of course, the good-for-nothing John Skyler and Riley Osborne. Yes, the same Riley Osborne from Chase U. I was surprised. However, someone did mention that after, of course, Rich Holland and Andre Chase won the tag team belts, uh, Riley Osborne did this, the X, meaning the Ultimate X. I did not pay attention to that, but it would make absolute sense. But I think many of you must have thought in your minds, okay, Riley Osborne, no chance that he's going to participate in Ultimate X in the resurgence. I mean, that is also the possibility. We saw that with Dotun Chen a week ago. But, however, it was Riley Osborne who picked up the win onto Skyler with the shooting star press, putting him in the spot where he deserves. So, he's in it. Now, earlier in the day, Nick Bennett was in an interview with Gia Miller, talked about Josh Alexander's. He feels like, where's the standard? Where's the guy who says that he's the standard? Well, he's nowhere to be found. So he in a way, he's saying, this is not the Josh Alexander I heard about. He just thinks that he's a piece of crap, he's a thing of the past, that sort of thing. But yeah. Now, Santino Marella, as you know, he is not a happy camper when it comes to people who assaulted him. And one of those people is, woo, woo, woo. That's right, Matt Cardona. Well, as you know, he punched Santino. But however, he's not happy with what has been going on with him attacking PCO. However, he gave him two choices: to face PCO or go to the big house, meaning that he could file charges against him. So Matt Cardona was like, I don't, but he did tell him there are some real gorgeous men there. We all know what he means. I mean, don't drop the soap, big homie. But, of course, later on we did see that he had to agree because basically you don't want to go to jail. So anyway, let's move on. Frankie Kazarian once again with his usual nonsense, but he's confronted by Eric Young and Steve Macklin. Of course, there are certain things going around. These guys have one goal in mind, which is, of course, the TNA World Title, which is something they're desiring to get. So we'll see what happens down the line. Now, we were supposed to have a match between Moose and Mike Santana, but we did see Santana was attacked by the system. But of course, the system thought they got away with it by walking out, claiming this match isn't going to happen. Santana did everything humanly possible when he fought back, knowing that he had the numbers game. However, Moose speared him, allowing for the match to win in his favor. But however, the system intended to finish him off once and for all. But say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yep, he showed up to give Mike Santana a hand. But Joe Hendry made some good, valid points about something. As you know, the system made a lot of enemies. They made an enemy out of Joe Hendry. They made an enemy out of Santana. But Joe Hendry said that both Moose and that dirtbag JDC will be in a match together against the Hardys. So basically, they thought they got rid of them. But this time, they're getting a measure of revenge for what these guys did. Now, Spitfire, as you know, they're still a little down after not winning the tag team titles from Masha and of course Alicia. But sooner or later, we will see them making that consistency again. So we just don't know when or where. Now our next match is another qualifier match. Now we have the other loser, Jason Hotch of the Good Hands, John Skyler's tag partner. He faces against Ace Austin and of course Rich Swann. But however, when it comes to Rich Swann, his AJ Francis, the good for nothing idiot, decided to get involved. So basically he was in the commentary, but there was a moment where Ace actually shoved Swann towards AJ, and of course AJ tried to get involved, but thank God for Chris Bay for helping out. Now this match could have gone where of course Ace Austin could have won a possible opportunity to be in the match, but no, that other sleazeball John Skyler got involved, and Hotch actually pinned Austin. But however, there is a factor that does play out for me. The factor is this: I wouldn't be surprised because of the situation with Francis and Swann. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a play for the tag team belts. That is something we could consider, but we'll see what happens. But I highly doubt that Hotch is going to win the Ultimate X. That is something that is clear for me. Now, our main event is the TNA World Title. We have Josh Alexander versus Nick Mennett. This match was insane. I wasn't too sure how this was going to go. I was thinking, okay, Nick Mennett will be winning this match, and this match ends real quickly. But however, unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw. But Nick Mennett was demanding 5 more minutes. Of course, you would think that Josh Alexander would agree. Nope. He walked away, and then he low-blowed Nick Mennett, saying that this belt belongs to him. But we will see what happened. But later it was told that Nick Mennett and Josh Alexander will meet again at Reemergence, in a Iron Man match for the TNA World Title. So we'll see what happens until then. But for right now, I think we are done with TNA. Let's move on with our last and final review, and that is, of course, Ring of Honor. Okay, ROH, Ring of Honor. Now, as you know, we have Paul White, formerly known as Big Show. I think they're giving him position as general manager of Ring of Honor. However, while he was talking about the plans of the future of Ring of Honor, he's interrupted by none other than Johnny TV. However, Johnny TV informed him that he's been on fire recently, so he felt that he deserves a shot of the ROH World Title. So Paul White agreed with them, saying, "You are been on fire, so you get your title shot," which ironically was our first opening match. So Johnny TV faces against Mark Briscoe. Now, of course, wherever Johnny TV goes, Tail Valkyrie is there. But of course, we all know she will do whatever it takes to see her man win the belt. But however, she was evicted. But luckily, Mark Briscoe did not back down from any challenge. He did finish off Johnny TV with, of course, the infamous J Driller, and just like that, he retained his belt. Now, we did see, of course, Robbie Eagle made his debut. He did state it out that he is here for a much bigger challenge, so he issued a challenge against Atlantis Jr. for the ROH World Television title. So we will see that match a little later. Now, our next match, we have Blake Christian versus Lio Rush. Now, these two are fantastic wrestlers. It's been 7 years since Lio Rush has been in Ring of Honor. So basically, this is going to be a real high-flying spot. But the real question is, who's going to walk out? Well, it was Lio Rush who picked up the win with the pinfall, and just like that, it was over. Now, as you know, Athena is not a happy camper when it comes to her minions not getting what they were supposed to do. Billy Starks, as you know, lost the ROH Women's World Television title to Red Velvet, and she decided to put her in at push-ups. But she did state that now she is still the forever champion, that no one is able to defeat her. However, she had an unexpected guest, and that guest is the most scariest person on the planet, Abaddon. Now, she acted like she's not afraid of her, but in reality she is. She did get scared. Melissa Santos later on did interview her, talking about how she's not scared of her. Now, you know she's scared. I mean, Abaddon is someone you should not take kindly or lightly or whatever you think she is. But sooner or later, we will see that happening. Now, Mark Briscoe was along with Big Tom, as you know, talking about conglomerate stuff. Now, there's one thing in Mark Briscoe's mind that he hasn't forgotten, is the loss he had towards Beast Mortos, where he picked up the win on him. So that match is something that he has not forgotten. So he's giving him a golden opportunity for the ROH World title. So that is something I'm sure Beast Mortos would definitely accepts to challenge. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if that's going to happen next week or on the next pay-per-view. I don't know. We will see what decisions will be made by the board of directors. Our next match, we have Ari Daivari taking on Katsuyori Shibata. Well, of course, that weasel Sterling gets in saying negative things, but of course he was going to get involved, him and Nice. But I would have to say it was the most interesting moment, because like the old saying goes, you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, so they got caught trying to take out Shibata, so they told him to leave. But however, uh, Shibata decided to use the Iron Claw and then onto Daivari and then the Fujikatami, and just like that, it was over. Now, Maximum Collection had a little interesting get together with Maria along with Griff Garrison. It seems like that Maria wants to give her baby boy a new makeover. I mean, they do see the qualities of that, but Griff Garrison kind of did something very, very stupid. But nonetheless, but however, we do know Griff Garrison will be in the match a little later. Now, our next match, we have Harley Cameron versus Viva Van. Match was okay. As you all know, I mentioned Viva Van is amongst those who are, of course, AEW ROH are scouting, so we'll see what happens until then. But it was Harley Cameron who picked up the win with a Shining Wizard. So that was pretty much it. Now, our next match, we have Serpentico versus Griff Garrison. Now, remember, if Serpentico wins, he gets his mask back that was stolen from him. But if he loses to, of course, Griff Garrison, he has to remove his mask and show his face. Now, of course, Angelico was banned from ringside, but there was a moment where Griff Garrison knocked out the referee, and it was an accident. Maria tried to help out with the chair, but thank God Angelico showed up. He didn't care what Maria was thinking. He knew that she was up to no good, but it was, of course, Griff Garrison even removed the mask, but luckily Serpentico had another mask underneath, and he used that. But it was, of course, the frog splash by Serpentico that finished off Griff Garrison. He gets his mask back on, and not to mention he was thankful for Angelico for having his back. So basically, Angelico would not allow, of course, to have Serpentico lose his mask one way or the other. Now, our next match we have is a proving ground for the ROH Pure title. Now, this is an off element from Action Andretti. Now, Lee Moriarty, as you know, both Lee and Shane Taylor Promotions have declared war against, of course, Action Andretti and Top Flight. So Lee Moriarty knows that this is not the element for Action Andretti, but however, Andretti, exactly like I would have predicted, lost this match when he applied the Border City Stretch, and just like that, it was over. Now, Layla Hirsch, as you know, had a fantastic match against Diamante. She did stated that Diamante did push her to the limits, and she was thankful for that. But she also put the entire women's locker room on notice, telling them to step up. Now, our next match is a title match, the Ring of Honor World Television title, Robbie Eagles versus Atlantis. I thought it was a fantastic match, too, because Atlantis, as you know, I'm a big fan of his dad for a long time, since I was a kid. He has brought up some great elements coming from, CML, and he was able to defend that belt proudly. But it was, of course, the Torture Rack that put Robbie Eagles away, allowing him to retain the belt. Now, Paul White was doing his thing until Tony Nese and Daivari interrupted him, so he said he wants a much better challenge. So he put him against a match against Leo Rush. Now, of course, Nese thinks that he will get away with it since he's a bit shorter. Well, I'm sure Paul White knows Leo Rush is someone you don't want to underestimate. Now, our next match we have is our main event is the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team titles. We have Cage of Agony versus the combination of Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs. As you know, Cage of Agony in the past are two-time ROH six-man tag team champions, but they wouldn't mind making this into a third. The match was going well as it was, but apparently the match ended in no contest with the arrival of Dark Order and the Undisputed Kingdom. Now, of course, Taven and Bennett do not like the idea of Dustin Rhodes making another decision where he will challenge for the ROH tag team titles, and they felt that he doesn't deserve any championships. However, Sammy tried to help out, but it was just too much. And then, of course, we had Serpentico. Serpentico and Angelico and Fuego tried to, in fact, try to help out, but it was just way too much. And including the referees and board of director members tried to intervene to tell him to stop. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a 12-man tag team match taking place next week, or 14-man. My bad. I think that's what we saw. But we will see what happens until then. But as of right now, we'll end things with Ring of Honor here and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have for all of you. Let's begin with upcoming events with the promotions. Now we have GCW stuff, as you know. For the No Signal Hill for this coming Saturday, it was announced that one called Manders will be in action to take on Jordan Cruz. And then, as you know, I mentioned that Galeno del Mal, the brother of Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr., will be, in fact, of course, in action in the homecoming event. For night 2, he will be facing against Tony Deppen. And finally, as you know, Brooke Havoc has been announced that she'll be participating with a lot of GCW events from the end of August towards, of course, the 21st of September. So this is what she's going to be. On the 31st of August, she'll be in Chicago. On the 14th of September in Detroit. 15th of September, Rochester. The 20th of September in Philadelphia. And then, of course, on the 21st in Hartford, Connecticut. Now let's jump in with some West Coast Pro updates. The thing that should not be, the West Coast Pro Championship will be defended. Kevin Blackfoot defends his belt against Jake something. Now another event will be happening on that very same month of October, along with that thing that should not be. On the 25th, there's another event called the Kalusia Clash that will be in the Kalusia Casino Resort on the 25th of October. Now, certain names have been announced that will be participating. We have LA Park Jr., Hijo de LA Park. We have Jasmine Allure, Titus Alexander, and Starboy Charlie. Now, of course, more names will be announced, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. Now, as you know, this coming Saturday, we have the Queen of the Indies. Brooke Havoc will be in action to take on, of course, the Great Sakuya, the Great Muda's daughter. And then finally, for the Roseanne event that will be presented by Prestige Wrestling, Deadlock Pro Wrestling, and of course West Coast Pro, Alpha Zoe will be participating, and this event will be on the 29th of September. Now, for some developments in the world of pro wrestling, Jun Akiyama was a bit surprised over the sudden retirement of Yoshinori Ogawa. Now remember, Yoshinori Ogawa announced his retirement, no ceremony, no send-off, nothing. So basically, Akiyama was surprised to hear that. So I don't know what goes on in his head, what is he thinking, but I'm sure he will try to figure it out. Now, for any of my subscribers who made plans to go see the Kitsune Women's Wrestling this coming Saturday in the Big Bright Break, unfortunately, due to the circumstances of a typhoon, Yasukawa will not be able to make it to the San Diego show, but however, she will be making it to the LA show, as was mentioned. Of course, Yasukawa was disappointed because of it, but she knows there's nothing she can do about it. Now, you also may have heard some excellent news coming from AEW. As you know, we are not that far off from All In Wembley Stadium. Well, next year, they will not be making their way to Wembley Stadium. They'll be making their way to Texas at the Globe Life Field. And apparently, All In will be having their big show there. This was announced. I was so excited to hear that. Now, however, a very interesting point was factored is, if AEW is not going to be at Wembley Stadium next year, does that mean that WWE will make their way there? I mean, it is a possibility. I mean, they haven't done a Wembley Stadium since 1992, so anything's a possibility. But if they do, I'm sure we will announce it. Fightful Select reports that MLW has signed Janai Kai. So now Janai Kai is a full member of the roster of MLW. I'm good for her. Interesting fact has rose around. Many of you may remember this tag team duo known as the Nasty Boys. Well, it was revealed that Jerry Sags, he is the nephew. He is the uncle of our current WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes. So somebody asked you, how is he related? Simple. Jerry Sag's wife is her sister is Cody Rhodes' mom. So basically, that is the connection. So makes sense. Looks like his extended family spreads in every thin layer. Now, many of you may know this person, Jennifer Pepperman, who has worked with Mercedes Moné in the past when she was known as, of course, Sasha Banks in WWE, was recently on AEW Unrestricted talking about her wanting to come to, of course, to AEW, and she wanted to work there. Let me pull that up real quick. Yes, here it is. This is what she said. I have to say one other thing through about coming to AEW. That was the first step, talking to Mercedes Moné. When I met up with Tony Khan, I immediately wanted to come here for his creativity, his passion, his joy, his love for professional wrestling, his mind. So Mercedes was the first step. As soon as I met Tony, I was like, I need to be here. So basically, Mercedes Moné was the part of the first step in order to make her way. She has done some excellent work with her. I'm sure we'll see more of that with her along the way. Now, those who remember the Yumiko Hota, she runs this thing called T-Hearts. It's like an organization, but doesn't have like a wrestling ring or any type of show. But they have many talents in their academy. Apparently, they just announced a new member who came from At-Risk Girl named Kane Miku, but now she goes by Kanamek. So basically, that's what we've been hearing. She'll be making her debut soon. Many of you may ask yourselves why, if she's from At-Risk Girls, why she's there. Well, as you know, none of the At-Risk Girls there have contracts, so it made it easy. But the way that some of the 6 wrestlers that left to go to Mighty Gold, they left in an impression that, of course, it's bad for business, but that's how it goes. But, of course, she said this, that now she's a member. For now, I want to learn professional wrestling with Yumiko Hota and work hard to become a truly strong professional wrestler. This is the beginning of a story of me making my dreams come true. Thank you for your support, everyone. So basically, as you know, At-Risk Girls are not generally pro wrestlers. They're just people to pretend they're wrestlers. So we'll see what happens until then. I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to put in. I'm currently working on the next Unagi Sayaka watch. I haven't done one for quite some time. I apologize to all my subscribers who are in fact Unagi Sayaka fans. I've been kind of caught up with all of this, but I'll catch up as soon as possible. But until then, we'll leave things as it is. But I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.